I am Reed, just a normal 27-year-old guy talking about building wealth and getting your life together in your 20s. What if I told you that upgrading your car, apartment, or even your daily coffee routine could quietly cost you millions of dollars over your lifetime? Well, that is something I truly believe in, and it is a struggle I know all too well. Today, I want to break down something called lifestyle creep, how it sneaks up on you, why it feels so normal, and how it can subtly yet profoundly ruin your long-term financial freedom. Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new here, we focus on building wealth intentionally and realistically. Today's topic is something I've grappled with personally, and honestly still do from time to time. I want to explain what it is, and then, with a bit of self-deprecating humor, share some real-world examples of how I've messed up. I'll even lay out the numbers, showing you where I could have been financially if I hadn't succumbed to its allure. For those unfamiliar, lifestyle creep is what happens when your income rises. Perhaps from a raise, a promotion, or a new job. Instead of investing that extra money, that new income, you start spending more. You might find yourself in a nicer apartment, buying new clothes, eating out more frequently, upgrading your phone, or getting a fancier car. It is not inherently about spending money. It is about allowing your spending to increase at a faster rate than your income can truly support. The worst part is that many of us rationalize it, telling ourselves we deserve it, we've worked hard. So we convince ourselves we can afford this new level of comfort right now. But that mindset, my friends, is a subtle trap, slowly trading your future financial freedom for immediate gratification. Now, please don't misunderstand me. I absolutely 100% believe in paying yourself first. If you get a raise or a promotion and you want to buy yourself something nice or treat yourself to a special dinner, that is perfectly fine. For me, I am a watch enthusiast, and I've always told myself that when I get promoted, I'll treat myself to a nice watch. And that is okay. A singular, well-considered purchase is not the issue. The problem arises when you start gradually upgrading everything around you, when your income, or rather your current financial reality, can truly sustain those escalating costs. Let me give you a few real-world examples, one general scenario, and then two very personal ones where I honestly really messed up. I don't exactly make a fortune. But for the sake of easy numbers, let's say you make $70,000 a year. That would be incredible. I wish I made that much. I am closer to $30,000 a year myself. But let's imagine I am making $70,000, and then you get a raise to $85,000. That is a $15,000 increase, which is fantastic. However, instead of saving and investing that $15,000 difference, you decide to buy a new car, or perhaps a new, more expensive couch, or you move into a more upscale apartment. You start eating out 3 times a week. It feels totally normal, right? Everyone around you seems to be doing it. Your colleagues at work are doing it. It is just the norm. But let's zoom out for a moment. If we were to invest just $500 a month of that raise into a broad market index fund like VO, which historically returns an average of 8% annually, after 10 years, we would have $91,000 after 20 years. That number climbs to $275,000, and after 30 years, you'd be looking at over $680,000. That is almost $700,000. Simply by maintaining your current lifestyle and investing the surplus. Of course, this is far easier said than done. I've struggled with this immensely, and truthfully, I still do when I was working my full-time job. My vice was cars. Everyone around me loved cars. I still do. And I was deeply immersed in the car scene. So when I got my first promotion, transitioning from part-time to full-time, I was driving a 2016 Hyundai Veloster. Immediately, I felt the urge for something cooler, faster, more exhilarating, so I started car shopping and ended up with a 2017 Subaru WRX after taxes. I believe I paid $26,000 for it. I financed it for 7 years, and my monthly payment was $443. This was around 2018. I felt like the coolest kid on the block, an 18-year-old driving a Subaru WRX, but then the desire to upgrade really kicked in. I can give you the exact figure right now, but if I tally up the cost of tuning, the wheels I bought, the cosmetic modifications, the carbon fiber, the bucket seats, I went all out with that car. I probably poured around $12,000 into that car from start to finish. I actually dug up a picture on my phone from June 27th, 2019, of my Subaru WRX getting tuned on a dyno. For those unfamiliar, a dyno measures a car's horsepower and helps optimize its performance through tuning. Let us just say at that point, I had approximately $10,000 invested into that Subaru WRX. On June 27th, 2019, VO, the ETF, closed at $276. If I had taken that $10,000 and invested it into VU instead, that $10,000 would be worth $20,472 today. Or let us consider Bitcoin on June 27th. 2019, Bitcoin closed at $11,000. If I had invested that $10,000 into Bitcoin, I would have $95,000 right now. And here is the painful part. After all those upgrades, I sold the Subaru with all the modifications still on it. For those of you who know about cars, you understand that when you sell a modified vehicle, you often lose almost all the money you put into the upgrades. But I still hadn't learned my lesson. I got another raise, sold the Subaru, and bought a 2017 BMW 340i. with the B58 engine. That was my dream car. So not only did I lose money on the Subaru, but then I bought the BMW. I installed a big turbo air suspension. I probably put around $15,000 into that car. But again, for simplicity, let's just use that $10,000 figure. I have a picture of my BMW from November 24th, 2020 on that day. VO closed at $328. If I had put $10,000 into it, I would have $16,070. $7 Bitcoin at that time closed at $19,000. Had I invested that $10,000, I would have approximately $55,000 right now. The point I am trying to make, and to add insult to injury, when I sold the BMW, it too had all the upgrades, and I lost all my money on those as well. When I say I lost all my money, I mean that the $15,000 I poured into those upgrades, I never saw that money again. It never came back into my pocket, because ironically, modifications often devalue a car in the long run. My entire point is, I have made significant mistakes when it comes to lifestyle creep. Every single time I received a raise, I would buy a new car because that is my personal indulgence. I don't tea drink, I don't tea go out much, I just really love cars. So every time my income increased, I would upgrade my car. I truly had to learn this lesson the hard way. Once I started getting serious about investing, I realized how much potential investing growth I had squandered. During the time I owned the BMW, which coincided with the pandemic, if I had simply stopped upgrading the car and started investing that money, the returns I would have seen by now would be incredible. I genuinely feel like I wasted a lot of time and jeopardized a significant amount of financial freedom by making those choices. My girlfriend and I often talk about it. It is easy to look back and say, I should have done this, I could have done that, so I don't dwell on it, I don't beat myself up over it. Because at the time, I was having fun, I enjoyed those cars, I was doing what I thought was right. I didn't know much about investing back then. Now, looking back, I think, man, I could have invested all that money, I could have bought a reliable, inexpensive car, and invested those tens of thousands of dollars I put into those materialistic vehicles. I would likely have a $200,000 investment portfolio right now. But I wasn't thinking that way at the time, and I can hold myself to a past self who didn't know what I know now. So if you've ever fallen victim to lifestyle creep, please don't be too hard on yourself. Now, I see it as a valuable learning experience. I understand how to approach money. Now, I know where to allocate my funds. And again, it was just a lesson you have to learn from your mistakes and strive to do better in the future. My main point is, it is still a struggle for me. I still find myself thinking, oh, if I get a raise, maybe I can buy that car. But at the end of the day, you don't want to perpetually inflate your lifestyle. The reason lifestyle creep is so dangerous is because it doesn't feel like a bad decision at the moment. As I just shared with my car example when I was upgrading my vehicles, I felt like I was doing something positive. I didn't perceive it as a poor choice. I wasn't focused on investments. I knew nothing about investing. So I genuinely thought I was making good decisions. Of course, I wasn't buying a yacht, but I was gradually upgrading my car, slowly enhancing my lifestyle. Maybe buying a watch, acquiring new technology, upgrading my PC. Perhaps you are opting for the $5 coffee instead of making it at home because you got a raise. Or you were considering a $500 couch and now you are buying a $2,000 one, or you start adding more monthly subscriptions because you feel you can afford them, or you start eating out more often. The problem is, over time, these small choices accumulate and these expenses build upon each other so subtly that you don't even realize it is happening. It feels organic, natural, and that, my friends, is what truly costs you money in the long run over the years. The compound interest of short-term gratification really adds up. So the next part I want to discuss is what I am doing now. What my current plan is to combat lifestyle creep. As I mentioned earlier, I am not telling you not to treat yourselves. If you saw my previous video, I talked about a very expensive dinner my girlfriend and I had for our anniversary, but again, that was a one-time occasion. It was our anniversary, and I felt it was appropriate. When I get promoted, I still want to buy myself a nice watch, but it will be one watch. My overall lifestyle won't change dramatically. I simply want to reward myself for hard work. But once again, I do it smartly. It will be within my budget. I've already started budgeting for it. You just have to approach it intelligently and prevent things from compounding out of control. Without your awareness, when it comes to spending, you want to spend with intention. Here is how I personally fight lifestyle creep. When I get a raise, the very first thing I do is increase my investments. In my opinion, the easiest way to do this is with your 401k, for example. When I received my last raise about 6 months ago, I was contributing 6% to my 401k. I got a 4% raise. The first action I took was bumping my 401k contribution from 6% to 7%. It might not seem like a huge jump, but at least I am investing more now. That is my immediate priority, and that is my plan for any future promotions or raises, automatically increasing my investments. That is the first step before I consider buying anything else. Now, this next one might be a bit controversial, but if you can live as if you are truly living paycheck to paycheck, even if you are not, it will significantly benefit you in the long run, because it essentially forces you into an automatic budget. I know many people dislike strict budgets, but if you can live almost as if you are broke and save or invest that extra money, it will accumulate remarkably fast. Next, I treat financial freedom like a flex. What I mean by that is, within my age group specifically, financial freedom is a widely discussed topic. Many view it as something that only happens in retirement. But here's the thing. If I can stay grounded and manage my money wisely for the next 10 years, achieving financial freedom in my mid-30s while everyone else is still playing catch-up, and see it until they reach 60, I would consider that a major flex. So, that is what I am aiming for. Ivy talked about this extensively already, but my favorite strategy is automatic contributions, automatic investments, whether it is to your Roth IRA or your individual brokerage account, dollar cost averaging, buying regularly without having to manually initiate each transaction. Just letting it work for you is one of the most effective things you can do. As long as you have those automatic contributions running, you have no excuse not to invest that day because it happens automatically. So, I still enjoy my life, I just choose when and how I personally upgrade it. When it comes to the freedom trade-off, the truth is, every dollar you spend upgrading your life today right now is a dollar that won't be working for you tomorrow. That dollar you use to upgrade your car, it won't be generating wealth for you tomorrow. Your car will only depreciate. So if you are serious about financial independence, early retirement, the freedom to travel, peace of mind, low stress, and the ability to do whatever you want, then every raise, every bonus, and every extra dollar is an opportunity to buy time. Not just things, and once again, I want to reiterate this because I don't want to come across as negative or someone telling you not to enjoy yourself if you have the money and you get a raise, and you are smart with your finances, and you budget properly, and you successfully avoid lifestyle creep, but you still want to reward yourself, whether with a material item or by investing in yourself. By all means, do it. You always want to pay yourself first. You don't. You want to be someone who deprives themselves entirely just to reach financial freedom, but you simply need to be more mindful because I've struggled with lifestyle creep a lot, and often the people around you can contribute to it. When your friend gets a raise and buys a new car, you might think, man, when I get a raise, I can wait to get a new car. My friend and I will both have new cars. A lot of the time, it is about blocking out that external noise and staying true to your own plan. That is why I've emphasized in other videos that when you start investing, you absolutely need to have a plan and stick to it. Because if you have that plan, no matter how substantial a raise I receive, I know I can fall back on my plan. So if I got a 100% raise tomorrow, I would still adhere to my investment plan. I de-integrate that 100% raise into my investment strategy. And then whatever is left over, I can use to treat myself, whether it is a nice dinner, a new watch, or whatever else it might be. Lifestyle creep is common. I am sure you've experienced it. I definitely have, especially with cars. And again, I still think about it constantly. I can dwell on it too much because I truly believed I was doing the right thing at the time. But honestly, I often think, imagine if I had taken that $10,000 I spent on a turbo kit and air suspension and put it into Bitcoin.